Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today? Okay, sorry about that. So, how's everybody today? Here in Detroit, we've been having extremely warm weather. Um, I go out to the pool, but that's about it. If I go out, it's like to go to the grocery store or somewhere where I could go get inside. But it's like 95 with the wind with the humidity. It's like 110 out, so it's very rough. But probably another week of this. So anyway, let's look at baseball yesterday. We hit the Detroit under 7.5. We hit Philly over 9, a push. Philly's pushed about 5-6 times lately. I had them over 8, under 8, and they hit 8, and they hit 9. I have Atlanta under 8, loses. I got Baltimore over 9, it wins. And the Dodgers over, loses. And Boston over, loses. So it was a bad day yesterday, but that's all right. Let's see what we can do today. So we look at the first game. We like Detroit over. We got Drew Thorpe, 0-1 with an 8.64, which we know probably pitched one game. Against Ken Tomeda, who's 2-3 with a 6.02, who's really bad. So we'll go Detroit over 9. We'll go 3 units. The 49ers and the Cardinals. We got Jordan Hicks for the 49ers, 4-3 with a 2.82. Miles McCullough, 5-6 with the 4.59. Let's look at McCullough. I see his name a lot. Let's see. Well, he pitches a whole lot. Well, I mean, he has early on, he gave up 5 runs 3 times and 6 runs. And then since then, in 3-1, 3-1, 3-3, 2-0-1. So he's a much better pitcher the last 6 games. Early on, he gave up the 5 runs. So his ERA is really, so we're going to go under here. Frisco under 9. And we'll make this 3 units. They've been playing a lot of under games lately, Frisco. And see, here's where it's like what I do in football. If you look at McCullough, he's got a 4.59. Oh, this is going to be an over game. But when you look at like his first 5 games, he gave up 5 runs in 3 of them. Then a few games later, he gives up 6 runs. And then since then, it's been a couple of 3s, a 2, a couple of 0s. So he's found whatever. But you got to take those 5s out, 3 5s, which were in April. You got to take that off the table. So there's a time you look at the whole picture and a time you don't. And I get it mostly in football. like I think it was the Bears or the Lions. I think it was the Lions. You're looking at their defense and they look good, but it was misleading. It was Carolina they shut out, Atlanta they shut out. But when they started giving up 20 points to the Bears and the Packers, you started going, wait a minute, this isn't a good defense. So when you looked at the last 6 or 7 games of the Lions, their defense was giving up 30. And they weren't, Green Bay, Chicago, not really great teams. Baltimore got them. But it showed you their true colors. And then they proceeded, give up 24 and 24 in the playoffs and 34 to the Niners. I mean, that's why they lost the Niner game. They give up 34 points. That's why you don't pass up the field goals and you don't go for it on 4th down. You're giving the other team another possession and you don't have a good defense to do anything about it. All right. So if I had the Chief defense or if I had the Niner defense, maybe I go for it on 4th down. If I don't get it, my defense is going to stop you. In the Lions case, it was 2 plays and they hit the big 60-yard pass and then touchdown and then the fumble and then 2 plays later, touchdown. So that's the whole point of, if you have a great defense, you can do certain things. I remember the Super Bowl, the Steelers-Cowboys, the first one. And Bradshaw gets hurt on that long pass, and Henry's in the game. Maybe it's the first one. And they don't punt. They get the ball at the 50 on the onside kick, and they, run into the ground 3 times, and there's 50 seconds left or whatever. But the LS has no timeouts, and Chuck Noll, because he's got the best defense probably ever, he sits there and he goes for it. And really, he just, because there was block punts in the game, right? So the only way I can lose is if I get the punt block, they run it in for a touchdown. But if I take a knee and give Dallas the ball at the 50 with no timeouts and 50 seconds or 40 seconds left, I got this great defense. I'm not going to lose the game. And you would have thought Michigan would have learned by that lesson against Michigan State. And that infamous, the guy whiffs the punt, and Michigan State runs in for a touchdown. The only way Michigan could lose was that. Had Harbaugh watched the Steelers, he would have said, I'll just take a knee. They're not going to beat me throwing the ball with, I think there was only 10 seconds, 20 seconds left in the game. I thought it was an incredibly stupid play. I think he should have went back to pass and let the guy scramble and just throw the ball down the field, and there would have been 3 seconds left in the game. And they'd have had to do a Hail Mary. And against that defense, there's no way. And Harbaugh didn't learn. So sometimes you have to understand your team. And Harbaugh clearly blew. We'll just punt. We'll just punt, and then the game's over. Except, if the guy blocks it or fumbles the snap and then punts it right. So the guy fumbles the snap, all he had to do is just go down. Why are you still trying to punt the ball? Why isn't that told to the guy? So anyway, it's a long about way of looking at the last 6 games, but you've got to know your real team. I think that was the thesis. And you're looking at the real team, and that's what you're trying to do. So you're saying, What's my strength? How can I lose? So you've got to look at it like a war. How can I lose? The only way I can lose is a block punt. And that's the thing. The only way the Lions can lose is by going for it on fourth down twice, because that then allowed, they didn't have a good defense. It allowed San Francisco to get the ball with momentum twice. That was the only way they could lose. That's why I argue about the coach being any good, because he doesn't even understand that. He didn't get that concept. How can you be a coach if you can't understand that concept? How can we win? How can we lose? I see it in baseball all the time. You see these batting orders. You got a guy hitting fourth who's hitting 180, and you got your big stud up third. You're not protecting him, and then I would just pitch around him. You're not seeing any balls. I'm going to take your 300 hitter out. I'm going to just walk him and let your 180 hitter who's sitting behind him hit his average. So you must know your strengths and weaknesses, which is what I do. That's what I break down in everything, in economics, in gold, in money, in the economy, in football. I tell you the strength and weakness. That's what I rate the teams as, right? The A team, their strength is offense and defense. The over team's strength is offense, not defense. And the under team's strength is defense, not offense. So I'm looking strength and weakness. The Z team has no strength. It's all weakness. So we want to bet against that. All right. Let's go. So we're going Frisco under 9. Okay. The Mets and the Cubbies. Well, the Mets lit them up yesterday, 11-1. We got Tyler McGill for the Mets, 2-3 with a 3.52. James Taillon, 3-3 with 3.08. Now, here's something that makes no sense. The over-under on the game's 11. So you're trying to tell me the Cubs are like Colorado, where you just hit a pop-up and it's a home run? I mean, I saw it last week against the 49ers. The over-under was 10 with two pitchers like this. And it was 2-1 in the seventh inning, and then they scored 10 runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and it ended up like 11-10, which I was shocked. But, here's where you get into the bullpens. How good are the bullpens? Why are they what are they doing? Why are they giving up so many runs? That's all I can say. So I can't play this. This is not an over game, and yet the over-under is 11. But last week we went under on this and lost. So we're not stupid. We learned from our mistakes. So what looks like an under, I got to let it go. KC and Texas, Waka 4-5 with the 4.24 against John Gray 2-3 with them. So let's look at Waka like we looked at the other guy. Because I see Waka a lot. Yeah, he's pitched 100. Oh, wait. He's on a 15 DL, but he's playing. So I don't really get that. Or maybe he was on it. Now he's back. So he's pretty low. So he, again, he gave up 5 runs, 4 runs, and 7 runs. The rest of the time it's been 2s and 1s. So he's really a better pitcher. And I don't know, but he's not on the DL now, so he's pitching. Gets John Gray. I'm going to let this go too. Arizona, Philly. Philly's a huge favorite, 250 over under 9. Tommy Henry, 2-2 with a 6.23. Zach Wheeler, 8-4 with a 2.84. So we're going to go Philly here. And we'll play it for 5 units. They lost yesterday, which was amazing. Oh, no. I had them over 9. No, I think they lost, but I had over 9. I think it was a push. So, again, here we go. 8-4, the 2.84, Zach Wheeler. Although last outing, and I think he gave up a bunch of runs. So, we'll have to see. But Henry's terrible. So, this probably will go over, but we'll see. Tampa Bay Pitt, Zach Eflin, 3 and 4 with a 4.12. Jared Jones, 4 and 6. So you got two dog pitchers, and the only question is, do you want to go over or not? And I'm tired of watching Zach Eflin with the 4.12 ERA throw a one hitter for 6 innings. I'm the inconsistent minor league pitching that's here. Again, I think they're countering the money ball with, we'll just all hit foul balls and tire the pitchers out, and then they'll have to bring in their bullpen. And so I think they said, okay, fine, you do that. We're going to bring on more pitchers, and we're going to pitch them every 5 days, and we're going to limit them to 100 pitches. So it's easier for you to get them out, and then we're going to have more in the bullpen. So your strategy won't work. So they're countering the foul ball strategy. The problem is there's not enough good pitchers to do it with. So you're doing it with minor league talent. And that's what you got. 3 and 4 at the 4.12, 4 and 6 with these are minor league talents. So we're going to ignore that. The Vikings and the Raiders, Super Bowl, whatever. John Madden Super Bowl. Bailey Ober, 6 and 4 at the 4.81 against JP Sears, 4 and 6 with the 4.25. This should be an over. Let's go over. It's a Super Bowl game. So we'll go mini over 8. We're just going to play it for 3 units. I got 4.0 ERAs. Minnesota's been hitting the ball lately. We'll go over. Toronto and Cleveland. Cleveland killed them yesterday. Cleveland's a 158.5. Jose Berrios, 6 and 5 with a 3.13. Ben Lively, 6 and 3 with a 3.02. Jose Berrios had a 2-something ERA. Now it's a 3-something ERA. So this is not an under. Again, I think I'm going to just go Cleveland here. All right, Boston, Cincinnati. So we're not finding that good matchup, although I have it in the next game. All right. Nick Pivetta, 4 and 4 with a 3.88 for Boston. Cincinnati, Frankie Montez, 1976 World Series, 3 and 5 with the 4.62. I have no idea. Pavetta's okay. Moontelis, again, is a hack, 3 and 5 with the 4.62. I expect an over here, but then it'll be 1-0. So I'm just going to leave this alone. Baltimore, Houston, here's our lock. Corbin Burns, 8 and 2 with a 2.14 against Ronald Bianco, who had a no-hitter through 7, and the manager takes him out. Unfucking believable. 7 and 2 with a 2.43. So we're going to go under. This is our lock. Baltimore under 8. And we'll go 7 units here. I mean, I don't get it. The guy's got a no-hitter after 7. What the fuck are you doing? Why would you take him out? And he hadn't thrown 100 pitches. So what's the logic on that? What are you doing? Guy's got a chance for a no-hitter. I'm sorry. The bullpen doesn't even come out. 2 reasons. One, I want to win the game. And obviously the other team can't hit my pitcher. So the only thing I can do by bringing in a reliever is allow the other team to hit, and they did. They got a few hits, and they scored a run. Not very bright managing. Well, I'm saving his arm. I'm sorry. You're saving his arm. So if he pitches another 2 innings, all of a sudden his arm's saved. So after 95 pitches, his arm's going to fall off. That's what these professionals now, they can only go 100 pitches every 5 days. Are you kidding me? So the manager on Houston has his head so far up his ass that he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's doing. He shouldn't be managing. Clearly, he doesn't know how to win. I mean, the guy's out there anyway, pitched 90 pitches. He didn't pitch 100. Give him the 8th inning. No-hitter. Give him a 9th inning. Let him pitch a no-hitter. Save your bullpen. So he doesn't save his bullpen. Well, why do you need your bullpen? The guy, they can't even hit the guy. Why would you bring your bullpen out? It's 4-0. It's not 20-0. Let him finish the game. Why are you afraid to let him finish the game? Oh, he might hurt his arm. Oh, well, then he should go play golf or soccer or something. Why doesn't he play soccer where he won't hurt his arm? The amount of babying they do now is really sick. Very bad. So, big game. We're going Baltimore, Houston under 8. Seattle against Miami. Oh, my God. Seattle 175, 7.5. The game's in Miami. Logan Gilbert, 4-4 with a 2.93 against Sean Anderson. 0-1 with a 10-1-3. This guy probably just called up. Well, he's actually pitched in 3 games. Pitched a whopping 3 innings against California, gave up 2 runs. Pitched a 10th of an inning. Oh, we got a bullpen guy here. So then it gets you to, you got a bullpen guy with a 10.13 ERA, but he's really only pitched an inning here and an inning there. So let's look at Miami's bullpen. It's a 4.16, so it's pretty bad. So let's go with Seattle. We'll go 3 units on it. The Braves and the Yankees, good game. Charlie Morton for Atlanta, 4-3 with the 3.91. Marcus Stroman, 6-3 with the 3.08. I'm going to go over. Well, it's hard to go over. Well, all right, we'll go over with these pitchers, but I'm not betting it. So I looked at the Yankees lineup, or Atlanta. I think Atlanta, and they got the bottom 3 guys that aren't hitting 200. Yeah, it's now. I assume there's injuries, but still, what are these guys doing there? These are not professionals. It's like a guy you hire in your company, and he says he can do Excel, and then you, okay, and then he can't do any formulas in Excel, and you're like, well, you don't know what you're doing. Get the fuck out of here. That's my favorite line in the interviews. I worked at Mercedes for 4 years. If I didn't know what I was doing, they'd tell me to get the fuck out. So obviously I know what I'm doing, or you don't last 4 years for the Germans. Milwaukee, San Diego, Carlos Rodriguez, 0-2 with the 6.48 against Randy Vasquez, 1-4 with the 5.70. Should be an over with these dogs. I don't know. I'm just going to let it go. Washington, Colorado. Washington -115, 10.5. Michael Parker, 5-3 with the 3.06. Kale Quantrill, 6-5. We'll take Colorado here. 3 units. They're pretty good. This guy's pretty good. He beat the Dodgers, Quintel, and he's at home. So we'll see. And the battle of UCLA against USC, the Angels and the Dodgers. The Dodgers won 4-2 yesterday. Like, what the fuck? Zach Plesac, never heard of, 1-0 with the 4.50, and Tyler Glasnow 7-5 with the 3.00. We'll go LA. Go LA. Beat Navy. So not a lot of activity. I mean, there's some games, but they're really small. Okay, so we got Detroit over 9, 2 pigs pitching, 3 units. The 49ers under 9, 3 units. Philadelphia, 5 units. Minnesota over 8, 3 units. Baltimore under 8, 7 units. Seattle, 3 units. Colorado, 3 units. And the Dodgers, 3 units. So you can see what I'm doing. Where everything was 5 units, I'm now reducing it as the risk is higher. I'm not getting the reward for the risk. So if the risk is too high, you want to go where the reward's good. But the risk is too high here. So that's why I want to play football. There's less risk. So we're going with you go to the pitchers, and then you get some games. They're just pigs. They're terrible pitchers. And what do you do with them? How do you bet on them? There's so much risk. Do we go over or under on it? I mean, before I would just, the guy's got a 6 ERA, the guy's got a 5 ERA, let's bet the game over. And then it's 3-2. And you're like, how the hell did that happen? Because they end up pitching 3 innings and the bullpen comes in. And for some reason, the bullpen shuts out the rest of the game from the 4th inning on. The team can't get a hit or a run. Then you get to some bullpens and they give up 5 runs. Or the starter with the 2 ERA gives up. That happened yesterday. Gave up it was the Yankee game. I have the Yankees, Atlanta under. Atlanta's winning 7-0 in the 4th inning, and in the first inning, the Yankee starter with the 2-something ERA gives up 3 runs and 4 runs in the second. You're like, what the fuck? One guy gave up. He pitched 100 pitches, gave up 11 hits and 8 or 9 runs in three innings, and you're like, what kind of manager is this? Why is this guy out there? He gives up 3-4 hits, he's out. They're hitting him, get him out. And I see a lot of managers losing games because they're too stupid to understand the concept of they're hitting him and they're not hitting him. They're hitting him, get him out. Bring in somebody they can't hit. That's the idea, not, well, he's got to pitch 4 innings or 5 innings or 2 innings. I got to rest my bullpen. What are you resting him for? Every game's important. So you just give up a game. What kind of managing is that? So that's why I bitch about the Houston guy. You're giving up. The guy's he's pitched 7 innings, hasn't pitched 100 pitches yet. He's got a no-hitter, and you're taking him out. What are you, psychotic? Out of your fucking mind? I mean, that's not even managing. That's just stupidity. I don't know who the Houston manager is, but he should be fired. How do you miss that concept? Well, they can't hit the guy, so let's take him out and let him have somebody they can hit. Obviously, he's never played before. So those are the games today. We will see. It's hard every day. Players get tired. Pitchers pitch every 5th day. I don't know how you get into a rhythm. You do things on rhythm. Even I come in every day and do this, and we got the rhythm of the gold and the sports and the football, and you get the rhythm of all this, and it helps. And that's why, when these teams travel to London to play or Berlin to play, they lose the rhythm, right? It's Friday practice and Saturday we're off, getting ready for the game mentally, physically. Sunday's the game. I come in, I have breakfast, I get dressed, and we go play. And when you go to London, you're fucked. Oh, we're flying there. Now I'm all screwed up. I got to get used to this new time zone and this new country. I don't know what I'm doing, and it's just different. And that's why it's so hard. And then you got these Thursday games. It throws your rhythm off. See, players like to play the same rhythm, right? You're waking up, you're practicing, and then you're preparing mentally for the game. And when you change that, we're going to play on Thursday, it fucks them up. And then when they play the next game, they're fucked up. Well, get more rest. Yeah, but the rhythm's fucked. Now they've played Thursday, and then they got to wait 10 days to play again. They're off. They get restless. They get, their timing's off. It's not good. It should be every Sunday for better. That gives you the best game. So they're making it extremely difficult with this Thursday and then this Sunday and Monday night. I mean, that used to be the best bet of the week would be who played last Monday night. And if they're traveling, you'd win 90% of the games going against them. All right. Let's review college football week 1. We've been looking at it, and there was a few lines that I need. So let's go. So we start off Florida State, Georgia Tech. Florida State's 12.5, 53.5. We got a new quarterback at Florida State, Uglia Buglia, and we've got King, still the same quarterback at Georgia Tech. We don't know. We know Florida State had a great defense last year. It's like a 15 or a 17. The debate is, how do I do week 1? Do I lose last year's? Well, maybe for Georgia and maybe for Florida State. You know they got a good defense. Alabama, we don't know. When a team loses their head coach, it makes it, what are you going to do here? So I don't know what to do with Alabama, let's say. We'll have to watch and pull maybe the Washington stats, which they're not very good. Washington gave up like mid to upper 20s. Oregon lit them up both games. Oregon got 35 on him in both games. Should have won the first game for sure. And they got out-coached in the second game. Caught a piece of cinnamon. DeBoer's a good coach, so you can just see if the coach is good or not. But that's why these new coaches, you have no idea. DeBoer, you know what he is. He was great at Washington. He got to the title. If he was at Washington this year, they'd get to the playoffs. They could win the Big Ten, but I don't know who the new guy is. All right. SMU, Nevada. So this is at 8:24. We've got these two games. SMU, Nevada. SMU minus 23.5, 56.5. SMU's quarterback is back. I have to check Nevada. That's my homework for today, is filling in all the quarterbacks on this sheet to know if they're new or returning. I can plug in the defense from last year, the defensive total, how many points did they give up? I could. I don't know if I should, and I'll take it with a grain of salt. Week 4, I'll take it seriously. Week 1, I'll justify, okay, Georgia's a 14. They fired the defensive coordinator because that was lousy, and they brought in a new one. So I'm expecting Georgia back in single digits on defense. So those are the 24th game, August 24th. Then we got August 29th. We got North Carolina against Minnesota. We got Minnesota minus 1.5, 50.5. We know there's a new quarterback at North Carolina. Minnesota might have their guy back, but he sucked last year, so we'll see. There's a line, Colorado against North Dakota State. North Dakota State's the team that wins the Division II title every year. And all these, they're all drafting these guys that suck, like Carson Wentz out of North Dakota State, and Trey Lance. He's looked great. I love hearing, he's mastered the Cowboys offense. And how has he done that? They haven't played him in a fucking game yet. How could he have mastered it? Oh, he knows how to throw to the tight end and how to hand off? The fuck you talking about? He's mastered it. Maybe as good as Dak Prescott's mastered it. So I think Colorado's in for a tough time here. I don't have it listed because it's Division II, but 8.5, 58.5. We know Colorado. See, I like North Dakota State here because Colorado doesn't have a defense. So North Dakota State's going to be able to, they have a pretty good offense. They'll be able to drive on them. Wouldn't be surprised if they win. I don't know how in the world Colorado with this defense could possibly blow them out. Prime Jr., he had 150 sacks last year, so he wouldn't throw interceptions. And they have a good defense. No, I think North Dakota State should be favored here, honestly. I like North Dakota State. That's a freebie. All right, Jacksonville State against Coastal Carolina. We got Jacksonville State 4-60.5. Ooh, that was 56. That line jumped. A lot of money going on the over in the Coastal Carolina Jacksonville State. That's pretty funny. 4.5. Florida Atlantic against Michigan State. This must be Lafayette, not Lou Lafayette against Buffalo. All right. Florida State and Michigan State, or Florida Atlantic, Michigan State is 11.5, 48.5. Now they've got the Oregon State coach who is pretty good. They brought the quarterback who is supposed to be a good freshman, but I didn't see a lot. Better than Uglia Buglia, which so all of us are better than Uglia Buglia. So we will see here. I don't know. We have to see Michigan State, but this coach is pretty good. So I feel better about Michigan State. Oregon State played Oregon pretty well. They had some. That was Washington State that had those early home games. They beat Wisconsin and they beat somebody else. I don't know. They'll be a good team. The question is, how good's Florida Atlantic, or how bad are they? And Michigan State has a quarterback, should be a little bit better, but we'll see. Again, that's what you gotta watch. Is right now we're figuring out the teams. Week 1 comes, we're looking at the box score. We're going, oh, what did Michigan State? What did the quarterback throw for? Oh, he was 21-24 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks. Okay, good quarterback. And if he's 5 of 12 with 0 touchdowns and 2 picks for 80 yards, and he ran 6 times for 50 yards, we know he's not a good quarterback. He's a running back, and play it as you got a weak quarterback, and that's what you're looking for week 1. All right, Temple, Oklahoma. We've got Oklahoma 41. That's ridiculous. And an over-under is 60. Oklahoma, we know, has got a new quarterback because Gabriel was the quarterback, went to Oregon. So even Oregon got a new quarterback, but I don't believe they're playing anybody. They're playing a high school team the first week, Oregon. So Oklahoma with the new, I got to see Temple. 41's a big number. Temple sucked last year. Probably will suck this year, but Oklahoma, Venables is not an offensive coach. He's a defensive coach. We don't even know how good he is. He played well against Texas. Give him credit there. They did. I think they beat Texas. It was a close game. They didn't win the Big 12. So we will see, but this is not Lincoln Riley. They're not going to throw 60 points a game up. Now it's Temple, so we know Oklahoma wants to look good at home the first game anyway. We should kill Temple, big Temple. So we will see. I'm not laying 41 with Oklahoma. I don't know who the quarterback is. The coach is not Lincoln Riley. He's not a big offensive coach. So I can't do that. So we'll see. Maybe under 60. If you don't think they'll handle the 41, you can go under 60 because Temple's not going to score in the game. All right. Western Michigan and Wisconsin. Wisconsin has Tyler Van Dyke from Miami, who he had a real good year, and then they brought in a new coach, and he fucked them up. Sort of like Jordan Love was great his junior year, and the coach moved on, and then they brought in a new coach, and he fucked them up. And Jordan Love starting to look like he did at Utah State his junior year, which is what I thought he would. But then they made him look so bad. I said, oh, this guy really sucks. It was just the coach. So now at Green Bay, he's looking better than he did. And, he could do it as he did his junior year. So Van Dyke, as a sophomore, looked great. And then last year, he absolutely got fucked over by the new coach. And I don't know what he's going to get because you had the SMU quarterback transfer last year to Wisconsin. He didn't do anything. So the offensive coordinator, see, you can't just go to the air raid. I mean, the blocking isn't set up for it. The running isn't set up for it. The receivers aren't there. I don't know. You can just say we're going to run the air raid and make it work. So I don't know. We know Van Dyke's a great quarterback. That's all we know. Wisconsin normally has a good defense. This is the Cincinnati coach who had a good defense. This was the Ohio State defensive coordinator, Luke Fickell. Took over Ohio State and he sucked, and then he went to Cincinnati, and then he figured it out, and he was pretty good. Goes to Wisconsin. I think it's a huge mistake. Should have stayed at Cincinnati, but goes to Wisconsin, and mediocre last year. They lost to Iowa, really. So we'll see. I don't know until I start seeing some big offense. But their defense wasn't that good. They weren't a very good team. So let's see. Let's give them a chance. Lane 23 to Western. Western's a very good team with a very good coach. It's kind of a high number, but Wisconsin at home tends to win by a lot. So this will have to, see a little bit more. But we know Wisconsin's Van Dyke. So that's a new quarterback. I don't know about Western. I'll have to look. We got TCU, Stanford. We got TCU 9.5, 60.5. I don't know. I don't know about the quarterbacks yet. I think TCU has a big year. They go to the title game and get, they played Georgia. They played a real team in Georgia after beating Michigan. Then everybody forgets Michigan gave up 100 points in that game. And then they go to the 6-man thing and everybody, oh, look at Michigan's defense. And you're like, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, this is the same thing that TCU lit up, but they didn't play an offense like that. They had Alabama with Milrose. They had Ohio State with the terrible quarterback. And then they get Washington and the running backs hurt. So really, they had a very lucky schedule. The rest of the schedule sucked. A bunch of high school teams. So I'm not sold on Michigan's defense. However, I am. TCU has a great coach. He's Sonny Dykes. He's a very strong offensive coach. So I like TCU here, laying the 3.5. Stanford sucks, and they're going to continue to suck. They suck since Harbaugh left. TCU should, we're a good team, good offensive coach. He's still there. We'll look for them. Look for him to be. Look for them to be much better this year. So I think this is playing Stanford. Stanford doesn't really score a lot, so you can't really go over. But I think TCU wins pretty comfortably here. And again, I don't know if it's a new quarterback or not. All right. Clemson and Georgia. We're jumping down. Georgia's 13.5, 48.5. Gotta love the game under with the Georgia defense, right? The game's in Atlanta. We know Georgia's got a returning quarterback. Clemson's got a returning quarterback, but he wasn't very good. Is Clemson's defense that good? So the question of the bet is, we know Georgia will shut out half the pros, right? Carolina, Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, they'd shut them out. So the question is, Clemson, if they have that solid defense, which they normally have, this is an easy under. If the defense isn't any good, then Georgia is going to blow them out 35-0. So we have to see what we got here. So we need a little bit more study on the Clemson offense. But Georgia brought in a new defensive coordinator because he didn't like that the guy didn't put pressure against Alabama. Right? See, here's the difference between a good team and the Lions. The good team, San Francisco, They let Mahomes score. They fire the defensive coach. Georgia, they let Alabama win because they didn't pressure Milrose. Fire the defensive coordinator, bring in one that will pressure them because Georgia recruits fast athletes. So their defense is faster than the offense on every other team. Just blitz them. If you just blitz the Georgia, let the linebackers or safeties blitz, like the Tennessee game with Hooker. They don't have a chance. They don't have time to look. They don't have a chance to run. What are you doing? Don't play safe. Use your strength. Your strength is your speed. Let them get in there. That's why Georgia gives up 7 points a game when they're doing that. So probably an under here, 48, under 54. Clemson won't have an offense anyway. We know that. Hey, Greg and John. Virginia Tech and Vandy. We've got Virginia Tech 13.5, 54.5. I don't know. Quarterbacks. I don't know. Vandy, I think, has a new coach. You know, I don't know what to do. There's so many new coaches. Well, I just said, Greg John, that's why backs against the wall works. Edmonton was down, 3-2, had to win, and they won. It doesn't matter where the game's at. I feel bad for Christmas because he bet on, he had Miami, Carolina, whoever the other team is, Miami, I think, thinking they were at home and they had to win, but that's what backs against the wall means. Edmonton could not lose, and they won, I guess. I don't know. I didn't watch any of it, but well, you shouldn't be glad you don't. You should have bet hockey, and you should have bet teams against backs against the wall. You'd have won. So that's a theory that works in any sport. Backs against the wall, the team plays with nothing to lose because they're, if they lose, it's all over. So they play great, and the team who's not against the wall tends to let up a little bit. In this case, I don't think Miami did. And that's what we got with Boston Dallas. Dallas had their back against the wall at 2-0 and lost, at 3-0 and won. And then at 3-1, they just got outmatched. Boston's like, let's finish this. And it was just matchups and too much talent. So there's times it works and not. But here, now we go to game 7. I don't know. But if you don't watch hockey, you probably shouldn't bet it either. But that's what backs against the wall means. And that's what we're always looking for make our bets. All right. The Virginia Tech, decent team. Vandy, new coach. SEC team, probably not too bad. I don't know. 13.5 is a lot of points for VTech, over under 55. So we got to see what type of teams they are. That's why we're looking. If they're under teams, it's an easy under. If they're over teams, which means they have no defense and a good offense, that's an easy over bet. And that's what we're looking for. See, that's what we got with Utah. They're an A team, but Cam Rising's back. They're going to score 35 points a game. So if you gave me this game with Utah, I would just lay the 13.5 down to 7.5 and be all over. All right. Connecticut and Maryland. Where is that? Ah, there it is. We've got this line's moving. Maryland's 20, now 22, over under 45. Maryland, we know, has a new quarterback because we know Tagliabue Jr. is gone. In Connecticut, I have no idea if the quarterback's new or not. I don't know. Maryland's good at home. They were explosive with Tagliabue, but he threw so many interceptions. So not quite sure what to do with this one. I'm not excited about Maryland, but, they're not the type of team, and is Connecticut a Z team still? So you're looking for Z teams to bet against. That's why we grade them, but we will have to look at that. Pitt and Kent. We got Pitt minus 23.5, and this is up from 52 to 56. Not sure why. I'm going to change this to Kent. I got Pitt looked terrible. No offense. Kent was a Z team last year. We'll have to see what they are this year. No real comment. I don't know the quarterbacks, but I don't know. I'm not jumping on Pitt here. Penn State, West Virginia. We've got Penn State 10.5, 49.5. I like West Virginia here. I think at home, it's a revenge game. I think Penn State plays better at home. There's the Penn State Michigan series, and the home team wins all the time, right? Michigan got lucky to win there last year, but normally Penn State wins in Penn State, Michigan wins at Michigan. And West Virginia, they're a Big 12 team. They're a good team, good quarterback. So I know Penn State's quarterback's returning, and I believe the West Virginia guy is also. And I just don't think Penn State's going to go at West Virginia in a revenge game and beat them again. They might win, but I got 16 in West Virginia. I like that. All right. Oak State against SD State. Now, I thought SD was San Diego State. It's not. So we ignore this game. I got to scratch it. I thought I had it on here. That's weird. I didn't put it in. All right. Yeah, this is not San Diego State. It's somebody else. Miami and Florida. We got Miami 3.5, 53.5. The game's in Florida. I got to like the dog in this game. Miami with the new quarterback. I'm not sure about Florida. Terrible coach, worst coach in the history of coaches. Offensive coordinator sucks. I don't see it. I just see. I think Florida is a home dog against Miami. I don't know why people think Miami's good. They're not good. Ward is not good. See, people think Ward's good and they'll win. Bullshit. He's not that good. He won a few games. He beat Wisconsin and he beat, I don't know, maybe Oregon State at home. And we had one of our students say how good he should be the Heisman Trophy winner until he played Oregon and Washington and the other teams, and he didn't look that good. So, against the better defense, Florida should bring a good defense. I like Florida's coach a lot better than Miami's. Cristobal, I don't get why he's even coaching. Ward's not a very quarterback. He's certainly not better than Van Dyke. So I like Miami. I like Florida as a dog. That's a joke. Kennesaw against UTSA. UTSA finally doesn't have. They finally don't have Frank Harris. 22. UTSA 22-51 to Kennesaw State. Now, Kennesaw State's a blank. We know UTSA has a new quarterback. Kennesaw State, does it really matter which quarterback? Now, we have to see what type of team. You can't even look at last year because they're playing Division II. I mean, I know we did that with Colorado. We tried to figure them out, and we couldn't because they were Jacksonville State Division II, and we had to see who they played, but it didn't matter. After about 4 weeks, we saw they were an over team, good offense, no defense. And then as soon as we figured that out, we just bet them over. And then they came up against Oregon and lost 44-6. And we realized, they're not a very good team. So we don't know what Kennesaw State is, and we don't know what UTSA is without Frank Harris. So we will see. Probably a decent quarterback. Nebraska against Utah. We've got Nebraska minus 27, over under a 50. So we'll have to check quarterbacks there. Nebraska, I'm not sold on laying 27 to UTEP. UTEP's not, they're a pretty bad team, but Nebraska's not a good team. I don't know who they can beat by 27 points. So I think that number's way too high. So I think you got to look over under in the game. But for that, we need to dissect the teams. Eastern Michigan against UMass. Where the hell is this one? Okay, here it is. We've got Eastern 1.5, 48.5, up from 46. They're already betting the over in the EMU Mass game. We'll have to see. We'll have to check quarterbacks and all that. Just getting the line out. Eastern's a pretty good team in the MAC. UMass, they suck. But we'll see. I mean, they're a home dog, but I don't know. We'll have to dissect the teams more. Akron against Ohio State. We got Ohio State at 50. Over under of 56. Now we've got Will Howard, the new quarterback at Ohio State, excellent, from Kansas State. We've got Chip Kelly, the new offensive coordinator, excellent. We know he's a whiz. He can't coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. He'll score you points. We know Ohio State's got a great defense. And Akron is a Z team. So we know Ohio State will win big, but they're laying 50 fucking points. I can cut it down to 44. How long does Will Howard play? This is the problem here. They could be up 40-0 at half, and the guy doesn't show in the second half, which then brings the second string quarterback in. We'll see how, but he should still be trying and scoring, right? He should be saying, look, I'm good too. Give me playing time. I want to score. So even though that happens, I think until you get to the fourth-string quarterback, they're still trying to score. We're not going to get any points from Akron. There's going to be a shutout for Ohio State. That we know. So I think instead of going over 56 down to 50, you take Ohio State's 50 to 44 because it's less points, right? So Ohio State's going to shut them out. I'm not going to get any help from Akron. So I got to go all Ohio State here. But instead of laying 50 and then over, I can lay 44. So I got 6 points better. Now, unless you want to go under 62, which is a very risky thing with Will Howard and Chip Kelly and a whole new two good running backs, and we know they got a slew of receivers. So you figure a big first half. They'll put up 40 in the first half, right? What do they do in the second half? But I wouldn't want to be under 62 as Ohio State's going up and down the field saying, fuck you, Michigan, we're not going to lose to you 4 times in a row. So like I said last year, they had blood in their eyes. They played well, but their quarterback sucked. And that's the key to a team doing well and not doing well is their quarterback. So Michigan hid their quarterback because they ran the ball like 95% of the time. Look at the Penn State game. They didn't throw in the second half. All they did was run. They brought in like 7 offensive linemen, and the running back just ran up the middle like every play. I mean, it was like, yeah, really? And that's what I think he's going to do at San Diego, and they're going to be unders because they're not going to run in the pros. That bullshit won't work against Crosby and Oakland, right? You're not running on those guys like you did in college. So we will see. But look for Ohio State to be very motivated this year. So at this point, it's a toughie. I think you're better off laying 44 than you are going over, and I don't see how you can go under. All right. Northwestern against Miami of Ohio. I've got Northwestern minus 3.5. 44 will be our total. Miami of Ohio is a very good MAC team. Northwestern's a very bad Big Ten team. I think Miami of Ohio can win. I think they're a live dog here. I don't know about totals. Northwestern tends to not have a good offense, but we will see. Again, this is what we have to see. Is we got to see them 3 or 4 games to know what changed. I think they have a new coach, where they brought him in the middle of the year. I think they fired Fitzgerald, got fired, and so they have a new coach. But Miami of Ohio is like the good MAC team. Now we got Ohio and Syracuse. And where is that? Okay. So we got Syracuse laying 15.5 and 14. And we'll put it at 15 and 48, up from 46. We'll go to 47. So over 47. Syracuse, new coach. I'm not sure about. We'll have to pencil in the quarterback, so bear with me. I'll do that today, and I'll be able to we can review this again tomorrow, where we'll have the quarterbacks in. And I can put in last year's defense to get a base of, well, Georgia, great defensive team. But we obviously don't know Ohio and Syracuse. Although Ohio is another very good MAC team. I'm shocked that this line of 15 is very high. But we got to see what happened with Ohio. All right. Indiana against Florida International. Indiana minus 19. And over under a 52. Indiana with a new coach, new quarterback, I believe. Florida International. This is the problem. Florida Atlantic, Florida International. Hey, you got to get the teams separated so you know which team you're talking about. I used to have that problem with UCF and South Florida. Like, oh, I know South Florida. Which one's the good team? Then I finally figured out UCF's the good one. And it's the same thing here. Florida Atlantic, Florida International. Which is why I keep all that on a spreadsheet, so I don't have to memorize it. I can just look it up and see. But again, that's last year. It'll give us a basis for week 1 and week 2 until we can then bring in the new stats. Now, Florida International playing Indiana, we can use these stats, and Indiana's stats also. We can't use these stats when they play the Division II team, like Utah's playing South Utah. We can't use those stats for Utah. However, with Cam Rising and the defense, we already know Utah's an A team. We don't need to see anything. The key will be UCLA, new coach. They lost their defensive coordinator. What are they going to do? Teams like that, right? So look at Oklahoma, right? They got a new coach a couple years now. We still don't know who they are. And then we've got USC with the Lincoln Riley, and we can see they're just like Oklahoma. Big offense, no defense. Brings in a defensive coordinator. Is that going to solve the problem? Well, you still don't have talent there. I think it'll help a little bit. But number one, Lane Kiffin went to USC. And then he brings his father, who was the coach in the NFL for 100 years, comes and they give up 60 points a game because he didn't have the talent. So you can't just – Monty Kiffin comes and was great at Tampa but had good talent, goes to USC, and he's terrible. He's like, I'm out of here. And Lane Kiffin, he sucked at USC. He sucked at Tennessee. Then he goes to Alabama, and then now he's, at Ole Miss. And, I don't know, but he was pretty bad at USC, I'll tell you that. All right, anyway, so we'll have to see the coach, and we'll have to see that. So we need to study it a little bit more. That's why I get the guide. The guide helps me. I look at the analysis, and then I look more at, do I have the same quarterback? Do I have running? What is my defense? What's my coach? If it's the same coach, then I can look at last year's stats. If it's a new coach, we're blind. We got to wait for, let me see 3 or 4 games, and then I'll understand the team. That's the problem with the coaches switching so much, especially in the pros, is to get the feel of the team, right? So we know Kansas City, and we know Cincinnati, and we know the Niners, and we know the Rams. We know Buffalo. But now you got, what the hell do we do with the Bears? Terrible coach. Now we got a new quarterback. How is that going to play? So we can't immediately start betting the Bears because the dynamics and variables have changed, right? That's why it's hard to bet them. Oh, I'll bet Caleb because he put up 50 points against Colorado, but he got killed against Notre Dame. So I'm gonna ignore the Notre Dame game and think he's like he was at Colorado. I mean, this is insanity. And this is what people are like hyping him for some reason. But is he any good? If he was any good, he'd have beat Notre Dame. Okay, he had a bad game. Well, it also showed against UCLA, Oregon. So Arizona, he had a tough time. So it just shows you what he is. And in the system he was in was pertinent that you're going to score a lot because he runs a complex offense that enables you, much like Andre Ware at University of Houston put up 70 points a game way back in, what was it, the 80s or the 90s. And the Lions draft him, and he sucked because that was a college offense, but not in the pros. It didn't work. So he wins the Heisman Trophy on a gimmick offense. And that's the problem you have with Caleb. It's a gimmick offense. The Alabama guys, the Ohio State guys, it's all a gimmick offense. So when they get in the pros, they can't even read the safety and the defense, and they don't know how to audible out of a blitz. I mean, that's really why we bet against them. All right, Indiana, we got Texas against Colorado State. Texas, a big number here, 36. Can't believe all the betting going on this early. Over under a 60. This was 57. I'm not sure why the line's moving up, but okay. So you're telling me 2 months before the game, people are running out betting the over on Texas, Colorado State. This smells like an ESPN, somebody's giving it. Texas, yours is back, so the quarterback's returning. Colorado State, we don't know. Sarkisian's there, so the coach is there. They should score a lot, but the question is Colorado State. What are they? Are they going to score or not? So I don't know if I want to bet this game over. If Colorado State's really bad, I'll just take Texas lay the 30. If Colorado State can score. See, the problem is you think they're a good scoring team, but when they play Alabama or Texas or Ohio State, they don't score. They don't, because they attack them. They blitz them, and they don't know what to do with the blitz, and they end up just sacked a lot of picks, and therefore they don't get any points because they can't handle the blitzing that on Alabama, or because they just don't have the linemen enough to keep them out. And that's what ends up happening. Although we bet Texas over Rice last year, and Rice laid the smackdown on them, and it was a pretty close game, actually. Georgia Southern against Boise. We got Boise laying 10.5, 56.5. Again, I don't know the quarterbacks. I don't know. I think I like Georgia Southern here. Boise's not Boise anymore, like when Kellen Moore was there. So I'm not all in on him. So I'll have to research. Old D in South Carolina, 17 and a half, 56 and a half. That jumped from 52. This is crazy. It might be one of those opening lines, and then they adjust them, and then now these are the real lines. South Carolina's got a new quarterback. I know that. Old D, I don't know. Old D wasn't too bad, I don't think. So not sure. We'll have to see, but I don't trust South Carolina. Old D might be a good play here. We'll see. South Carolina's got one of these running quarterbacks that can't throw. South Alabama against North Texas. We got South Alabama minus 6.5, and 63 is another line that moved from 59. North Texas is a over team. South Alabama, I think they got a new quarterback, but I'll wait to see. Most of these teams are going to have new quarterbacks. Not necessarily the guy graduated, but the transfers. All the like Miami, they got Warp, but he's a new quarterback. He's never quarterbacked, or Florida State. So when they transfer in, they're really new to that team. That's what I'm looking at. This is the same guy as last year? If it's not, it's going to take him 3-4 weeks to figure out the system and play it better. All right. Houston against Vegas. Houston 56.5. I like Houston. Well, this should be a good over, I think. I like Willie Fritz, the Houston coach. Very good. New coach, but he won at Tulane. He won at Georgia Southern. He's a good coach. Now he goes to Houston, and Vegas, I don't know if they got a new quarterback or not. It was a very good team last year. They went from a Z team, and then they got better. Sort of like what New Mexico State was, a Z team. Got a lot better last year, but their coach isn't there anymore, Kill, so they got a new coach. And then we got to see. And then we've got so in this case, I think this is a good over. This might be a strong over for us week one. Again, did the Vegas coach and quarterback stay? And they added players, and Houston with the new coach should be much more explosive, much better. So probably an over, but we'll see. And Vegas might be a good pick here. We'll see. Troy, Nevada. Troy, 15.5, 49.5. Okay, that pretty much stayed. Troy, good team. Nevada was not that good, so we'll have to see. Again, I need more information on the team. Right now, we're just going high level. Here's the games, here's the spread. Alabama, 31, 60.5. We know there's a new quarterback. No. Milrose is returning. I'm not sure about Western Kentucky. Alabama will be more of an over team than an A team. They will be like Washington. They will score a bunch of points, but their defense won't be as strong. Western Kentucky should score here. Here's a case where Milrose will play most of the game. Western Kentucky's a very good team, Conference USA or whatever conference they're in. So they're not terrible. They match up okay. It's not Nick Saban's defense, so look for Alabama to put up a lot of points. So I think this is an over because Western Kentucky normally scores a lot. Will it's against Saban? He'd blitz them, and this would be 38-0 game. But I don't think that you're going to see that with DeBoer. I think it's more 45-17 type of game. I think we get over. But we will we'll analyze. Rice, 11.5, 49.5. To Sam Houston, we got to check that out. Michigan, 20.5, 46.5 to Fresno State. That was 48, down to 47. I probably would go with Fresno State here. I like Mikey Keene, so I know Michigan's got a new quarterback. Fresno's got Mikey Keene back, I believe. Michigan, all they did was run it up the middle last year and put 6 guys, so it gives Fresno State plenty of time to research this defense, which is just 6, and then they were on the receivers, so a lot of crossing routes. The defensive coordinator's gone. The head coach is gone. There's a new head coach. I don't know. He likes to run a lot. With Michigan, it's hard to say what their defense will do. They never score a lot anyway because they're running the ball. Their quarterback, Ogre, is a running quarterback. He can't throw. So it's going to be a lot of running, which would tend to make it an Army-Navy type game, which would be an under. But it's a low under, so I don't know. We'll have to take a look at it. But I think Fresno State's got a shot. They're a good team. Notre Dame. A&M, -1, 48.5. Down from 50. Is Notre Dame a live dog with Riley Leonard? So we know they got a new quarterback. A&M, we have to check. A&M is supposed to be pretty good this year. They got him. I don't know if this is a home game or a bowl type of neutral game at the Jerry Dome or whatever. I don't know. I mean, with Hartman, I love Notre Dame as a dog, but with Riley Leonard, I don't know if I love him as a dog. He's not a bad quarterback. Their offensive coordinator sucked. He's gone. The head coach sucks. He's not very good. They had a very good defense. There should be 2 very good defenses. I think this is an underplay. We will see. A&M's got a new coach who used to be their defensive coordinator, went to Duke, and now is back. So we'll see. Notre Dame won't be that good this year. If you couldn't win with Hartman, you're not winning here. The running back went to the pros, and Hartman didn't get drafted. Was a fucking joke. So we will see. But I don't know if Notre Dame's a live dog or not. I don't like the coach. He's terrible. All right. Hawaii, UCLA 15.5, 54.5. We don't know anything about UCLA. New coach. I don't know if it's a new quarterback. The freshman was there. Did he leave? Hawaii, we know it's a returning quarterback. It's the 3rd year of the new system with Timmy Cheng. So we will see. They're just a passing team. But they're getting better. They're getting better players. So this is when you adjust. The coach comes in. The players aren't there. He wants to run his system. Doesn't work because the players aren't there. Then the next year he gets some players in. Now in his 3rd year, he's recruiting players that fit his system. This is the problem. This is a bad coach. A good coach runs the system that his players who are there can handle. You don't run a system that nobody knows what the hell you're doing. That's the difference. So not a good coach. Greg or John? College football should be fun. Okay. I can't. What do you want me to say about that, Greg or John? So we'll have to see. UCLA, new coach. He's got like 10 assistant coaches, like water boy assistant coach and towel boy assistant coach. I've never seen so many assistant coaches. This guy's in way over his head. I won't trust UCLA at all. Southern Miss against Kentucky. Kentucky 25-50. Okay. Kentucky should be pretty good. Their quarterback should be. See, we gotta see about the transfers if they're still there. Southern Miss is terrible. Kentucky should probably beat them pretty good. Then these teams at home want to get off to a good start. Georgia Tech against Georgia Southern. Georgia Tech 19 and a half, 20, 57 and a half to Georgia State. Georgia Tech should be a pretty good team. Quarterback's back. Georgia State, we got to see how they are. James Madison and Charlotte. James Madison is 9.5, 50 and a half. Against Charlotte. James Madison was a good team last year, so if they kept their guys, they should win this game. Wyoming, Arizona State 745 and a half. Wyoming with the new coach. Arizona State was not very good last year. They are in the desert, but we'll have to see. New Mexico against Arizona. Arizona 30 and 53 and a half. I like Arizona here. Their quarterback is back, and he's a really good one. The coach went to Oregon State, but the quarterback didn't. He stayed, so that's kind of surprising. But they were a really good team last year. So the question is, the coach leaves. Are they still a good team? They should still have a good offense with the quarterback. So the quarterback is returning. He was very good. All right. LSU, USC. LSU 6.5, USC 66. We'll leave it at. Both quarterbacks are new. The game is in Vegas. The question is USC's defense. They'll both be explosive offenses. I think the only way to play this game is over. This will be a lot of scores, a lot of points. Florida State minus 21 and 48 to BC. There's no way Florida State. This is under. I mean, Florida State's not going to be high scoring with Uglia Buglia. He stinks. This is what I don't understand. At what point do you think Uglia Buglia got good? Because he sucks. I mean, he didn't get any better. He went from Clemson, where he sucked, to Oregon State, where he sucked. I mean, there was nothing. I watched the box scores, a lot of interceptions, a lot of incompletions. Didn't do anything. He doesn't know how to quarterback. I don't know why anybody likes him as a quarterback. I don't understand. He'll probably be the first draft pick, of course, because he can run. He's an athlete. Look how fast he runs the 40. Yeah, but I want a quarterback who can actually throw the ball to the receivers. So it's just pretty funny. There's all these win total crap. Please don't play them. College football win totals. Right? I mean, who the fuck knows? Why do you want to bet that? I get odds. Oh, big deal. But the problem is, quarterback gets injured, there goes your win total. It's always going to come down for Ohio State. It'll come down to the Michigan game if they play Notre Dame, and who they play. That's really the key to it. But stop fucking around with that. You're not getting real odds, and you have no idea. And an injury. If you go over and you get an injury, you're fucked. Now, if you go under, you're hoping for the injury, like with the JETSs last year. Anyway, that is college football. Pro, we're not going to do. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. So I've got my lines. So my next thing is to pencil in the quarterbacks if they're new or returning, even if they're transfers, they're new. Maybe I'll put T for transfer because there's a difference between a freshman taking over because the seniors retired, went to the NFL, and a guy who's played before, like Gabriel goes to Oregon. he's new, but he's a star. Where you got Cam Rising at Utah, he's not new, but it's good to have him back. So I think you have to look at it like that. I think I have to put T for transfer because the guy knows that. Well, Ugale Boogale doesn't matter, but like Cam Ward in Miami, he's not like he's never played before. So you might have to, okay, Will Howard at Ohio State. He's new, but he's a very strong quarterback. So I think I have to I think I'll put an N and a T, new transfer. I think for the rest, I'll just put transfer because I think that's really the key to it. You really want to know the reason why am I doing it? Because if he's returning, I know what I have, right? If he's new, now we got to see what we have. But that's if he's like a new freshman or he's never quarterbacked before. But a guy who's transferred, Will Howard, we know what we've got. We know what we got with Gabriel going to Oregon. So we don't really need to treat it like new. We have a very good idea that there's a big difference there. So I might recategorize it. But really what you're trying to do that's unknown is you've got all these new coaches and you've got all these new players running around. So you have to then break the variables down to figure out, are they an over team now or an under team? Are they an A or a Z? A lot of these MAC teams are Z's because anybody that's any good on them transferred out, and so they have no talent left. Conference USA is like that. Sun Belt maybe like that. The Big Ten, a team like Indiana or Maryland all of a sudden gets all these transfers in. Now, are they any good? That's another question. I think if they transfer from a MAC school, they're pretty good. I think if they transfer from like Kansas State, they didn't get any playing time because they're not good players. Therefore, the transfer is no good because he's transferring because he couldn't play. I don't want that guy. I want the guy who played, not the guy who was not as good as the first guy. So keep that in mind. So we're going to study this. So the key to study is the quarterbacks, new coaches, are they the same team? Georgia, not a problem. USC, we got Notre Dame, pretty close. Ohio State, we got Michigan, we got a little figuring to do. New coach, new DC, new quarterback. Okay, we kind of got a pretty good idea of Michigan, but we never got a good idea about them last year because they didn't play anybody. The whole season, they didn't play. They played a bunch of crap teams. So you really never had a feel for Michigan and then they should have lost to Alabama. The first good team they played, Alabama, with Milrose, he fumbles at the 50. And then at the end, he should have scored. He cut the wrong way. Okay. But that's so they beat Alabama, who was okay, but not a typical Alabama team. They were good enough to beat Georgia. I would have liked to see them play Georgia and play Oregon. I don't think they could have beat either of those teams. So they got lucky that they didn't play those guys. And then Washington, number 7, wasn't available. So he did that. Let's see. So that's what you're trying to find out. You're trying to solve the puzzle. College is much harder with these transfers. The pros, not as much. I mean, Mahomes is still in KC and Burrow's still in Cincinnati with Chase. Minnesota's got rid of Cousins, which is an addition, although I don't like who they replaced him with. I don't know. They don't know how to recruit or draft quarterbacks, Minnesota. To settle on Cousins, I mean, it goes all the way back to Fran Tarkington in the 70s. He cost them 3 Super Bowls because he sucked. And then you had, they never really had a good quarterback. Cousins sucks. Then they get rid of him, and Atlanta's stupid enough to pick him up. And then you got, Atlanta was just desperate. And then they got Penix. Everybody's like, how can they take Penix? They have Cousins because Penix is 20 times better than Cousins. Cousins stinks. So then what does Minnesota do? They get J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, and you're wasting a first-round pick on that guy? What are you doing? And then you have and Sam Darnold. Did you see Sam Darnold on the Jets and wherever else? Are you kidding me? This is your quarterback, Sam Darnold, and J.J. McCarthy. So again, you're wasting Jefferson with no quarterback. I hope Jefferson can get to Cincinnati with Burrow and Chase again, and then we can see 60 point a game NFL like they did at LSU. So you don't have we kind of know the pro teams. All right, you get Puka goes to the Rams, and okay, now they're a much better team, which you see. First of all, they had to get him in the lineup, and then once he's in the lineup, he catches everything, and then you're going, why didn't you play him the first 5 games? So it's picks like that change the team around a little bit, more so than defense. You don't notice anything in defense. The defensive coordinators suck. Oh, we'll play 2 deep zone because every other team in the NFL plays it. So really, it doesn't really affect the defense as much. It's the quarterback, receiver, running back that really changes the team around. But you don't have that much. Okay, Fields, well, he sucks. He's on Pittsburgh. Russell Wilson, I don't know what happened in Denver, so we got to see what's going on with Pittsburgh. That'll take 3 games. But there's not that much. And you know Russell Wilson anyway. It's not like we don't know who he is. So the pros, it's not too bad. In college, it's a nightmare, because teams like Old Dominion, who's pretty good, or James Madison, who is pretty good, how many players did they lose? And then how are they this year? And then that's why it's the coach. The coach develops the players, makes them good, and you got a good team. And then you got nightmares with UCLA. Everybody left. Their offense, Chip Kelly, the defensive coordinator, left. You don't know what you got there. It's a total mystery. You're going to wait 4 or 5 games for UCLA, maybe more, to figure out, are they any good? I don't think this guy can coach. Why do you get a guy that's never coached before? Oh, well, he was a running back there. Oh, well, that makes him a coach. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson couldn't coach at all, and they were superstars. Jordan can't coach. Isaiah, God knows, he can't coach. The superstars can't coach. The game comes too easy, and they can't explain it. I get that way with golf. Golf I can explain pretty well, but baseball, hitting a baseball, you can't explain it. Either you can hit it, either you see it and hit it, or you can't. You can't explain it. You can't. All you can say is keep an eye on the ball and then hit it. And if you can have hand-eye coordination, you can hit. Otherwise, you can't. So I don't know what's with these new. So college we're gonna have to be very selective week 1. Maybe Ohio State, we got them. Oregon, we got, but they don't play. Georgia, Clemson, probably Georgia or the under. We'll have to see. But again, it's week 1. But I'd hate to. Georgia's going to be pissed off this year. They didn't get to the playoff last year as a joke. They were the best team. They'd have killed Michigan. Wouldn't have even the game because Michigan would have ran on them. And guess what? 1st and 10, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, punt. That's what would have happened against Georgia. They wouldn't have been able to run for 5 yards. But they got lucky. They got Washington. and they didn't run a lot against Alabama. So they got lucky in the draw, and they wouldn't have run on Oregon either. Those two defenses would have just shut them up. So they got lucky um, against Alabama that Milrose fumbled, and then they got lucky Washington's defense wasn't that as good as the others. But again, that's what you're looking for. We've got to grade out the new coaches. And it's okay if DeBoer's coming from Washington. We know what Alabama is. They're going to score. Their defense will be okay, but down. We don't have a clue on UCLA. And Michigan, we don't have a clue. Ohio State is going to be real good. Georgia will obviously be real good. So that's what you're looking at is how are these new coaches going to take you? The problem is week one, if they play a high school team, you don't learn anything. You do learn Clemson, Georgia. So if you get those type of matchups, you learn right away. USC, LSU, we'll learn right away, and we won't learn much. UCLA could lose to Hawaii. It wouldn't surprise me because they got a new coach, probably a new quarterback, new defensive coordinator, all new coaches. How good's UCLA going to be? Who the fuck knows? You got a coach that's never coached. That's what you're looking for. You got to grade out UCLA, so you can't even bet them because you don't even know what you're betting on. Right? You have no idea. So there's about 10 to 20 college teams that you have no idea with the coaching changes. And then you have your Ohio States and, USC, LSU, Georgia that right? Tennessee, you pretty much know. Kentucky, Florida, and Miami. We know Miami sucks, so they're way overrated. See, that's a game we can bet on is Florida because we know Miami stinks. They got a terrible coach. The quarterback, Cam Ward's not any good. So we know there shouldn't be favored in the game, right? We'll take Florida as a home dog. The coach is still there. He's a good coach. This is a game they can win. There's no way Miami's going to blow them out. This is a good 8.5, 9-point teaser we can take, up to 8.5 or 9. Don't ask those questions, Greg or John. I don't do that kind of shit. So we'll see. We got to learn week one, and then we'll go. But so week one's bets are going to be the safe, Ohio State, Georgia, stick with the cream, maybe the Florida, and then, we got LSU, USC. We can go over. We have a very good idea about that. It's the other teams. It's Boise. It's New Mexico State. It's TCU. Are they bad? Are they good? That's really the sleepers like a TCU. Houston's going to be a sleeper. Vegas, they were a lot better last year. Let's see. Those are the teams we make our money on because everybody bets Alabama and Ohio State, and you're laying 40 points anyway. I'll bet $5 laying 40. I mean, you're just hoping it stays in there. I want to tell Alligator you're the best. So go tell him. Go. You got the site. Go tell him. Yeah, that's where I don't like when they talk on that show Mark McGuire and Alligator yesterday. I don't, and they try to come off like they know what they're talking about. That's the scary part. That's why I make those comments because they're trying to teach people about inflation and money and what's going on, and they don't even know themselves. Inflation is not purchasing power going down. It's inflating the money supply, hence the term inflation. So they don't get it, and they miss the whole concept. They don't even understand what it is. That's the effect. The purchasing power drops because you're inflating the money supply. They don't even understand that. That's the first point. You've printed too much money and you've hurt the value of the money. And how do they not understand that? And then they're saying, well, we look at the consumer price index. And as I said 1,000 times, you don't know. You can't necessarily raise your prices. I can't charge this for $2. I can't charge $10 for this because nobody will buy it. This is my silver holder, but nobody will buy it because it's too expensive. So I can't raise prices. So therefore, you can't judge inflation. Anyway, what a bunch of idiots. But that's why you come to the professor. You come to the cream rises to the top. But anyway, so that's what happens there. So anyway, so pro in college, this is why I always say I get better as the year goes, because now the trends and the variables are there. The trends are there. We would have made a fortune if Aaron Rodgers plays last year. We'd have made a fortune. We'd have bet the Jets all the time. They'd have been undervalued. We'd be getting points as a dog like we did the opening night. We had them as a dog against Buffalo. We won. They won the game on a punt return, but we won with them. And that's the point. They should have been favored. With Aaron Rodgers, they should have been a favorite to Buffalo, but they were a dog. And so we took advantage. We didn't know Rodgers would last 5 plays. But if Rodgers plays, they're a huge underbet. They're not an underbet. They're undervalued because they won't have any figures to put in. And we'll know they're an A team. Great offense, great defense, good coach. So therefore, we'll bet them anytime they're the dog if we have Rodgers. Without Rodgers, they're an under team. Great defense, but why quarterbacks have such a difficult time? So that's what you're looking for is the variables. Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson. So keep that in mind. And then you're trying to figure out, well, let's look at Cam Rising at Utah. Okay. So because Cam Rising's playing, so let's look at this as like I do my Titanic. We have a cause. The boat hits the iceberg, and then we have effects. The water comes in, the boat fills up, the boat sinks. You got to get on the lifeboat. So because we hit the iceberg, these things happen. Because Cam Rising's healthy, these things happen. Utah's in the playoffs. Utah goes undefeated. Great defense. Cam Rising, great quarterback. Without Cam Rising, their quarterback sucked. So can you blame it on the coach for not getting a good backup? Maybe they could have had Hartman saying, look, Rising hurt his knee. You can be a year. We got a great defense. Come here. And then Rising will be the quarterback next year. But he didn't do that. And Hartman goes to Notre Dame, and he didn't get drafted. He screwed up because he went to the wrong coach, Hartman. However, he's a great quarterback, and we'll see what happens. But now if he gets playing on Washington, we'll be betting Washington because we know Hartman's a good quarterback. But with Cam Rising back, now they're a team. They're going to score 35 a game. They got a killer defense. We bet Utah all the time. So that's what you're looking for. With Oogly Boogly on Florida State, we bet the game's under because he's a terrible quarterback. You're not going to get any points. But I think with Norvell, they're going to have a good defense. And therefore, they'll be an under team because you won't be able to score on them, but they'll have Oogly Boogly, so they'll be running the ball all the time. So again, it's the cause and then the effect. Inflation, you print too much, the value goes down, and then it takes more money to buy it. So therefore, that's why you think prices going up. Prices aren't going up. That's what kills me about alligator. He says it's not the gold going up; it's the value of the dollar going down. But he doesn't say that with prices. It's not prices going up; it's the dollar going down. It's the same. That's what he means. Gold, it is gold going up based on demand. He doesn't understand. But that's where you're at with it. So you were looking for cause and effect in college and pro football. The causes are the coach and the quarterback. Those are the key elements that make the team good or bad. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, the Jets aren't as good. Cam Rising got hurt and didn't recover, and they were still decent, but they weren't the same as with Cam Rising. That's why it's not next man up. That's a bunch of bullshit. Cam Rising has got a much better skill set than Barnes, the backup, right? Uh, so you have to understand that Russell Wilson's skill set is a whole lot more than Fields, right? It's not even close. So you have to understand that's what you're looking at, and so understand the variables change. That's what you got. You can't just play Utah with Rising or without Rising and think it's the same team, or Pitt. Now you got Russell Wilson. It's not the same team. Mahomes. Mahomes goes down. You think the backup is as good as Mahomes? Or look at Burrow last year. Burrow gets hurt. They're not the same team anymore. So you've got to pay attention to injuries. It's not next man up. Maybe with the left guard, but not with a Mahomes or a Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. It's not the next. The next man up does not have the skill set as the man who just got hurt. So that's why it's important to check the injuries, because it changes the variables, and that's why you're looking for. That's why teams who pay a lot, they overpay for the wrong position. Like Atlanta just paid $45 million for Cousins. It was a huge mistake because he's not worth it. And then they can't sign defensive players and running backs and wide receivers because you paid too much to Cousins. You don't have anything left for your defense, and that's really the problem. Who was it? Somebody else just paid a lot. Well, Jacksonville overpaid for Trevor Lawrence, and a lot of these teams are overpaying for their average quarterback should get average money, $10 million. That's it. I'd say go walk, or I'd trade Trevor Lawrence. He's not any good. What do you see that's good about him? I never thought he was any good because Ohio State manhandled him twice. So what do you see about him? You're going to pay that, and then you can't sign defensive players, so you don't have any money left. So that's the problem with changing the variables, overpaying for your quarterbacks. So we know gold's off today and tomorrow. We'll see. We know hopefully this time that BRICS is going gold-backed currency. We know the demand for gold and silver are up, which will shoot the price up. Yes, alligator, demand raises the price, not the dollar going down. That's got to be the stupidest comment because, first of all, the dollar is not even based on physical. It's not a physical price, and it goes up and down based on the derivatives, not the dollar. So it's not the dollar going down, forcing the gold price going up, because it went up $30 and down $30 in 2 days. It had nothing to do with the dollar. So the comments he makes are just pure ignorant, and it just shows that he doesn't know what he's talking about. And most of those guys don't. They're just salesmen. He's trying to sell his substract. Oh, if you pay for it, you'll listen to it. No, we'll listen to it because it's good. Do you pay for this? You guys don't pay for me. Is it good information? How much money did I make you last football season covering the games here? So you didn't have to pay for them, right? This year you're going to have to pay. But last year you didn't have to pay. You made a fortune. So don't tell me you have to pay to make money. That doesn't matter. If you give good content that makes fucking sense and it's in English and it's at a low level that people can follow, people will gladly pay for it if they need to. But charging for your Substack, alligator, a cup of coffee. I don't know, how much is a cup of coffee now? $100. Charging for that does not make any sense. I'm waiting for my Daria to. There we go. Just a second. Just a second, everybody. I apologize. That's Daria, and I always respond to her. So that's what you got to. So we're looking at variables for gold. Why? Let's break gold down the way we break a football game down. What's happening? They're printing the dollar to death. Why is that important for gold? Because we understand that if you print the dollar too much, you make it worthless. So we've understood that inflation is overprinting the dollar. Okay, and what does it do? It makes the dollar worth nothing. And then, of course, it takes more dollars to buy a Coke. So the Coke price goes up because they need more money to cover their costs because the money's worth less. So then if the dollar loses value, it's worthless. So now what do we use to interact in the economy? How do I get paid and buy things and pay my expenses and eat and go on trips and buy golf clubs and take my girlfriend or wife to dinner? How do I do all that? Well, I can't use the dollar anymore because morons who should not be fucking around with it are overprinting it because we got the mafia involved and they're going, hey, print me $1 billion. I'll put it in my pocket. We'll make him an offer he can't refuse. So Luca Brasi's there going, hey, give us $1 billion. And that's what you have. So the variables change because the dollar is worthless. So now you take that dollar that's worthless and you go, well, I need something else. What do I use? Well, how about another dollar? Well, no, because you're going to do the same thing. So we look around and the only stable thing is gold. So we said, you know what? Because you can't print 1 billion of these, is money that won't go to zero. Hence why the gold standard is it, and hence why BRICS is going on the gold-backed currency, and why we buy gold and silver now. We buy gold and silver because if we hold this and we know they're printing it to death and we know the petrodollar is gone, so all these dollars are coming back, which is huge inflation, which makes this dollar worth less. And that, they're saying, well, in 2 to 4 years, the dollar will, no. The dollar's zero now. And with the petrodollar out, it's done. Another variable has changed, which they don't know how to calculate. So because you can't print this and it is money, this is what you buy and this is what you use. It's sort of like the backup quarterback. So you have Aaron Rodgers and then you put in, they could have signed Hartman, right? That's what they should have done. So then if Rodgers gets hurt, you go to Hartman, right? So the U.S. economy is like Rodgers got hurt and we don't have anybody. So we're going to stay with the dollar instead of going to a gold-backed system. So gold is, in effect, keeps the dollar, keeps the value alive. So if you have gold, you didn't lose anything. The dollar, we're over here, that dollar is gone, but we're over here with the gold. So we're fine. We don't need the dollar. We've got gold. Luke asked, how much gold do I need? As much as you fucking can get. Because once gold hits 10,000 an ounce, you can be able to buy it. Once silver goes to 500 an ounce, yeah, you'll probably still be able to buy that. That's it. So that's really the variables you're looking at, like a football team. the dollar's injured going out, so you need to substitute. You substitute it with gold. That's why you buy the gold, because gold can't get hurt. Gold can't get the zero. Gold can't hurt its knee. Gold's your starting quarterback. And the question is, well, why didn't we start with gold in the first place? Why did we go to the dollar? But with that said, a lot of corruption, mafia, and stuff like that. So we are in gold as protection, right? And now we're fine. Now nothing can happen to our team. We've got gold, we've got silver, we're fine. We'll have to figure out how to cash it at the time. Right now, I can go to my gold. I go to a gold and jewelry store to buy it. And when that happens, I buy it, and then I turn around, and if I need to sell it, I go back in there, and he'll pay me spot. Spot's not a correct number. It's just a mythical number based on contracts. Sorry about that. So we're going to gold as the backup because they've ruined the dollar. And in our economy, you have what's called a medium of exchange. So you go to work, you get paid, you want a currency that has a value. So you want to get paid in gold or gold backed currency. I showed you Zimbabwe, they have gold dollars, right? So this is really gold. It's easier to carry as opposed to this, or you put this on your credit card or debit card and you use it the way we do now. It'll just have gold on the credit card. And so really what you want is a clean currency. So that's what makes the economy run, and that's what makes everything go. So that's what you're looking for. And that's why we buy gold, because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. The dollar is not playing anymore. The dollar got a season, and it got the Florida State injury, the Jordan Travis injury. It fucked his foot up. He can't even walk. He's out. The dollar's out. He's injured. He's not playing anymore. He's got to retire. He got the my UCF guy, Mackenzie Milton injury, where his foot's backwards and he can't play. That's the dollar. It's injured. It's out. So now we got to find a replacement. And this guy named Gold is the replacement, and his brother Silver. So those are the new players, but they can't get hurt. That's the idea. So you buy as much gold and silver. Now people will talk you into Bitcoin. They'll talk you into putting money in the bank. They'll talk to you putting money in stocks, houses, real estate trust, money markets. They all get injured, right? The only way you can play without getting injured is gold and silver. That's the easiest way I can kind of relate it to football economics. You can't injure gold because you can't print it, but all the other options are in dollars, right? So they all are going to collapse because you've ended the the whatchamacallit dollar, petrodollar's gone. You printed 150 trillion of these, and if you understand, the more you print, the less they're worth. So these don't have a value anyway. So why would you buy stocks? Stocks aren't going to have a value because they're priced in dollars. You can't buy Bitcoin because it's priced in dollars. You can't buy real estate trusts because it's priced in dollars. Everything priced in dollars goes to zero because there's no more dollar to price anything in. Now, what happens is it gets priced in gold. What should happen is, and it's very simple, you come out with gold-backed dollars. You wipe away the bullshit dollar and you come out with gold-backed dollars. But with our infamous moronic government, we don't have any fucking gold to do it with. Excuse me, Luke, I do not believe there's 1 ounce of gold in your Fort Knox. And the people in Die Hard 3 have all our gold. Okay. So understand that if we had gold, then I would roll out a gold-backed currency now and end your debt, and then all this stuff would be over. Why are we at war with Russia? Because we're broke. We have this debt. We have a lot of problems because we printed too much of this. Okay, so it's injured, it's gone. So you got to realize it's not worth anything. Don't put your head in the sand and realize and think it is worth something. But your only player you can put out there is Joe Gold, number 16, who looks a lot like Joe Montana. That's the only player you can play in this economy. Otherwise, you're fucked. So this is Cam Rising coming back. This is Cam. So this is what we're looking for in football. We're looking for the gold guys. And in the economy, you're fucked. Well, what does BRICS do? BRICS, China has 60, 70,000 tons of gold, Russia 25, 30, and India and Saudi Arabia and South Africa and all these other countries are starting to accumulate gold. Why? Because they know they need the star player. They need gold, can't get hurt. So they're all dumping their quarterbacks for gold. They don't want dollars. And so that's what's happening. And so why do you want to still be in dollars? Do you think that the injury isn't really an injury? Well, Aaron Rodgers really might not be hurt. He's injured, but he's not. Mackenzie Milton for Central Florida is really, he can't walk. Jordan Travis, well, he might be okay. No, he's injured. He's out. And that's what you got to realize with the dollar. It's injured. It's out. It's gone. So don't try to pretend, well, maybe it isn't. Let's ignore the 36 trillion in debt, which is like saying, let's ignore the 25 interceptions that Caleb threw last year. But he'll really be good. He's only 28 and 15 28 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Yeah, but, look at the touchdown passes he threw against Colorado. And I go, well, let's look at the Notre Dame game and the UCLA game. He's really not that good. He's not gold. And that's what I'm trying to warn you about is don't pretend he's good when he's not. Look at the picture without judgment. Just look. Don't get all caught in the hype. He struggles against good teams. Well, he's going in the NFL. It's all good teams. He's going to struggle again because as soon as somebody figures him out, which should take 5 minutes, will blitz him, then everybody will blitz him. Look what happened to Jalen Hurts last year. Jalen Hurts, they're cruising along. All of a sudden, they figure him out. We'll blitz him, and all of a sudden, they go, 1-7 down the stretch? The guy can't read a blitz. We found him. Tagliavua can't read a blitz. Trevor Lawrence can't read a blitz. C.J. Stroud can't read a blitz. We can go down, Bryce Young can't read a blitz. We can go right down the list of guys that are phony dollars. They're counterfeit. Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Joe Burrow, maybe Russell Wilson. We are expecting Bo Nix and Penix and whatchamacallit, the guy from LSU, Daniels, to be here. The rest of the guys are counterfeit, and and then there's maybe Herbert at San Diego, but Harbaugh's going to fuck him up. Brock Purdy's like silver. He's not quite gold, but he's not that bad. Stafford with Pukanuka. Yeah, so we're looking for gold teams. Let's put it like that. So that's what we're trying to rank them. Maybe I'll call them, instead of A and Z, I'll just call them gold or counterfeit. And that's what you're looking for. And that's the whole key to it, right? So it works the same way. So in the dollar, this is Fields. This is, this is Cam Newton. This is Vince Young. This is phony. They're not real players. And so what you're trying to do is get a good backup. And so we got the best backup in this and in silver. It's as much as you can get. And that's where it's going, because everything in dollars is injured. It's gone. It's counterfeit. It's not real. So why do you want to be in stocks? Well, because I want my money to earn me money. Are you kidding? I mean, you want safety right now. You just want to get out of money. And the only way out is gold and silver. So you don't even want to be in dollars. And then there's no other dollar to go into except this BRICS dollar, because it's backed by gold, that you'll want to go into, or any dollar backed by gold, or fuck it, just buy the gold and the silver and buy it now while it's cheap. So don't ignore the fact that the dollar is injured. I have to make money at this point. All you want to do is get out of it. And even if you just survive with gold. Now we've got Luke going, well, I'm getting frustrated gold hasn't gone up. That's like saying, well, I'm frustrated that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a football. I'm frustrated that Hartman didn't do better at Notre Dame. That's kind of what he's saying. I'm frustrated that I'm not winning with gold, that it's not going up. And my argument to him is, but you're not losing. You're out. Your quarterback's injured. You're done, right? You're sticking around with Travis from Florida State. It's over. Get out of him. Go into gold. And don't worry about the price. It's going to go up. It's just going to take time, because the other team is not recognizing that the dollar's worthless. The U.S. is not recognizing the dollar's injured, that if Travis hurt his leg, he's gone. They're not recognizing it. They think, well, no, we can. I don't know what they think. How are they magically going to get rid of $36 trillion in debt? How are they going to do that? You got to pay $1 trillion every 3 months, which is really $1.5 trillion. Well, we'll lower interest rates. What's that going to do? The injury's still there. The guy broke his leg. He's not getting any better. So what are you going to do to get to heal his leg? There's nothing you can do. Travis is out. He's gone. Aaron Rodgers hits the Achilles. He's gone. There's nothing you can do for him. All you can do is go to the gold, right? That's all you can do with the dollar. There's nothing you can do. It's gone. Well, and now we're not the petrodollar, which means we got injured now in the other leg. So now both our legs are hurt. All this dollar is going to come back. You can't print $150 trillion and not think that's inflation. The value's zero. And, I don't know how Alligator Egon thinks it's 98 or 99%. And it's going to take 3 years for the other percent. They're full of shit. No, it's worthless now. The only reason Target still takes your money is because they have to, because the government forces them. If somebody comes in with US dollars, you must take it. And then their prices, like you can see Target and Walmart and Home Depot are losing their ass because they tried raising prices, which is my whole thesis. Just because you have inflation and the prices go up and the costs go up doesn't mean you can add prices. The market, us, determines if you can make the things more expensive, because we'll sit there and not buy them. And if we don't buy them, you got to lower the price. That's why you don't look at CPI for inflation data. You look at printing the money. The money is worthless. So the quicker you realize that Travis can't play again, the quicker you realize that the simpler it is. So that's what you need to understand. We go to gold because the dollar's injured and not playing anymore. It's retired. So the dollar's retired. We need a new quarterback. And his name is Joe Gold, Joe Montana. That's our new player. And Silver is the fullback. So we're all set with that lineup. And then we can win with it. And that's why you're buying as much gold and silver as you can, because he can't get hurt. He can't retire. He can't get hurt. And you're going to win with him. So he's Cam Rising now is back. Look out for Utah, right? And that's what we're betting on Mahomes. This is Mahomes. This is Joe Burrow when he's healthy. So Joe Burrow gets hurt, and then now he's healthy again. And that's Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. So it's very simple to understand. That's why we're looking at gold and silver. It's protection. So when I talk to Luke, he's got to realize it's the game. The guy's retired, right? Travis is retired. Forget about it. You've made the right move. You're into gold and silver. That's the key to it. That's what you're looking for, right? Is the situation. So now it's a no-brainer. Oh, I need a starting quarterback, and my guy retired. I go here, and now I can't lose, and the price will go up. Then they're going to win. So you just keep going with it. All right, what's going on here? Rams are okay. Eagles are going to be good. TK, the best teams are very few. Maybe 5 teams, TK, if they are gold. LQ, how are you? You're new. Every time Vic scrambles right, I assume you're talking Michael Vick. He's getting pop concussion. So you're talking Michael Vick, I assume? Well, he's gone, right? Or is there another Vic we're talking about? Well, but that's what happens with they realize what these, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, Lamar, they know what to do. The better teams with the good, what Miami played Baltimore and they blitzed Lamar every play and they shut him out 20-0. I mean, that's all you got to do is blitz these guys. Takes the running ability away. Then they have to read, which they can't do because they're athletes, not quarterbacks. Greg and John, you can't analyze. What are you kidding? Rams are very good. Eagles are not going to be good because Jalen Hurts sucks. We'll see what Kellen Moore can do. The best teams are very few. Well, yeah, we know that. Maybe 5 teams. I don't know. Denver might be good. If Atlanta goes to Penix, they could be good, although they're not. Your best teams, as I just said, Cincinnati and Kansas City, possibly San Diego and Denver. And you've got Baltimore, Cleveland, maybe Pittsburgh for Russell Wilson. The AFC South sucks, and then KC, the other Miami. Well, no, Buffalo and the Jets. Are okay, and then the NFC, it's San Francisco and the Rams, Green Bay. Dallas sucks. Maybe, I don't know, Philadelphia. I doubt. So you look at it. So what's the point, Greg and John? We discussed that. I don't know who Vic is. I assume Michael Vick. But I know Tagliabue gets concussed a lot. He lost a lot of weight for some reason, so he's going to really get killed. So he's faster. Does that make you faster? He's not a runner anyway. So we'll talk more football. So I'm going to do my homework today. I'll put in all the quarterbacks. So I'll have 3 categories: new, returning, and transfer. Why don't we do that? Because if the guy's played and he's just transferring, he's not like a freshman who's never played before. I love betting against those guys. They just blitz the hell out of them. But that's where we're at. So keep that in mind. Again, why are we buying gold? Because our quarterback's injured and retired. We don't have one. You have no option. You have to buy gold as the player, right? Gold's healthy. He can play. So don't fuck around thinking the injured guy's going to play. You got to go to the next player, which is, and then gold's basically coming into play because the dollar's out. So the quicker you realize that and stop fucking around, well, I'll buy Bitcoin or I'll buy a stock. I got oil stocks. You've got to wake up and realize the dollar's worthless. Therefore, the stock market's worthless. Therefore, everything priced in dollars is worthless. And gold's gold's the way to win or survive. And don't worry about the price. It's a paper price now. It will have a physical price. And that's what happens. So that's kind of that lesson. Excited for Minnesota. I don't know what that means. What is Minnesota? Okay. Talk clear to me, LQ, so I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what Minnesota is, and Michael Vick hasn't played in 10 years, 20 years. All right. So anything else? All right. We'll look at college today. Pros, we don't really need. That's a little farther away. But we'll look at that, and we'll go from there. So that's about it. So our baseball for today, we got a few games, and it's probably some of it started. Detroit over 9, San Francisco under 9, Philadelphia, Minnesota over 8, Baltimore under 8, Seattle, and then tonight Colorado and the Dodgers. And we'll see what happens. Again, we're betting very small. Most of them are 3 units, except for Baltimore under 8 is 7. And it's just to we're looking at variables. We're analyzing, just trying to get what but we're really not betting this. I mean, you can bet very, very tiny, but it's just to help analyze and try to figure out baseball. But we have figured it out because we've seen that it's all averages. So you're looking, how do you figure out a game? We're looking at baseball, the pitcher ERA, and the pitchers, it doesn't mean anything. A guy with the 2 ERA can give up 10, and the guy with the 10 ERA can give up 1. So that doesn't work. The bullpen, you never know. The batting averages are meaningless. Guy hits 180, goes 4 for 4, and a guy hitting 300 goes 0 for 4. Really, it doesn't. You just don't know. It's really difficult seeing flashes. So anyway, that's where we're at. So have a good day. Cool. Minneapolis North Stars are my favorite team, Grega. Well, thank you, LQ. I appreciate that. Well, they're no longer the Minnesota North Stars. They're the Dallas North Stars. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. I think I am out. Off to the pool. I think Chinese tonight. I don't know. I'm getting a little bit tired of it, but we'll see. And that's about it. Okay, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Have a good night. Good luck on the games if you're betting it. And we'll talk more college tomorrow. I have to do some research. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day. Enjoy your Saturdays.